All right, then we'll get started. First of all, thank you all for joining. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning for the people at the Europe side. I'm Nick from EV Cargo, and I'm the host for today's session. And thank you all again for joining the session titled "Elevate Your Multi-Sourcing Potential Through the Power of Digitalization." So before we deep dive into the topic, we would like to let you all know that we have the question box function available for you to raise questions, and we'll go through them in the last part of the webinar. And in the end, if we can't go through all of the questions, we'll send the response through email as well to ensure all the questions are addressed. So today we will explore how diversifying channels and suppliers can enhance flexibility and mitigate risks for business. So by embracing the supply chain digital technologies, organization can unlock a range of benefits, such as real-time insights, enable proactive decision making while streamline communication to foster more effective collaboration. And the integration of digital tools will empower business to make data-driven decisions. And on top of that, to optimize supply relationships and respond promptly to the market dynamics. So again, all of you, thank you, and join us as we deep dive into examples and strategies that harness the power of digitalization and elevate your multi-sourcing potential. So I will briefly introduce the key topics that we'll be covering in our talk today. So first of all, we will explore the dynamic shift happening in the sourcing landscape. Specifically, we'll discuss the impact of China Plus One policy, which is driving business to diversify their sourcing strategies. We'll also touch upon the implication of this policy and how organizations are adapting to this new sourcing paradigm. And next, we will delve into critical topics of assessing supply chain vulnerabilities. We will examine the potential weaknesses and risks that can disrupt supply chains. And thirdly, Henry, our head of sourcing product, will then share the insights from the industry experts and perspectives on the ongoing current sourcing trends and challenges. Fourthly, we will then focus on leveraging sourcing solutions for effective risks mitigation. We will introduce innovative approach and also technologies that can help business to identify and manage risks in their sourcing processes. And last but not the least, we will conclude our talk with the Q&A session, as I mentioned earlier. This will be an opportunity for you to engage with us and also address any specific questions that you may have, and most importantly, to further explore topics covered in today's session. So let me give a brief introduction about myself. I'm Nick, the host for today's session. I'm the business development manager with experience in marketing, freight forwarding, and supply chain technology, and specifically focus on international shipping and global retail orientation. So I've had the privilege of working with diverse organizations, so supporting the team to navigate the complexities of international shipping and optimize their supply chain operations is basically what we're striving for. And one of our aims today is to promote the benefits of digitalization and how it creates positive impact to the retail supply chain industry. Yeah, so now moving towards the first part, which is the dynamic shifting sourcing with address of the impact of China Plus One policy. So as some of you may know, China Plus One policy began to gain attention and being implemented by the business around early to mid 2010s. And it continues to gain significant traction. In the recent year, China Plus One policy is basically a strategic approach adopted by business to diversify their sourcing beyond China. So with the rising of labor costs, geopolitical risks, and supply chain disruptions, so companies are actively seeking for alternative manufacturing and sourcing location. So now let me elaborate a bit more on the high-level benefits of China Plus One policy, as you can see from the slide. So first of all, let's start from the top left-hand corner, which is cost saving. So rising in labor costs in China is one of the main reasons why China Plus One emerged. While China was initially known for its cost-effective labor and production, They aren't the only country in the world that offers this advantage anymore, however. So adopting China Plus One allows basically the retailer or your company to explore competitive labor cost, favorable exchange rate, and tax incentives in different countries to possibly achieve cost saving. And second of all, it's the technology and expertise. So certain regions and countries are well known for their expertise in specific industries and technologies. By expanding your manufacturing to these countries, your country may gain access to new technologies that may not be readily available elsewhere. So giving it a more competitive edge and also economies of scale. So additionally, you can tap into specialized labor market areas in these areas to fill with people who has the local expertise in these particular fields. And third of all would be the proximity to customers. So setting up production facilities closer to the target market can reduce transportation costs as well as the lead time, allowing companies to be more responsive towards customer demands. And fourthly will be the risk mitigation, as I briefly covered earlier. It's one of the reasons that the retailers or the sourcing company may consider China Plus One in the first place, because supply chain disruption can caused by various number of factors such as extreme weather conditions, natural disasters, political tensions, or global pandemics, etc. So if you're supplying predominantly from a single country, all it takes is just one of these factors that can probably cease or even halt your production process. So therefore, China Plus One encourage manufacturers to establish suppliers in multiple countries, reducing risks, as well as resulting in a higher adaptable supply chain that can withstand the unexpected circumstances. And fifthly will be the better compliance management. So legislation effective in June 2022, such as Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, UFLPA, introduced by the United States Congress to help combat forced labor policies in parts of China, also played a significant role in the desire to diversify. So companies that violate these requirements may see their products seized at the border by the customs, as well as creating negative brand image among customers. So for your company, it may be valuable to consider the alternate source for components, rather than the risk of losing a critical part of your supply chain to a particular bad influence or bad actor. So lastly would be the market access. So choosing your plus one destination allow your company to tap into different market. So you can strategically use your company's advantage. If you're looking for ways to better understand your consumer behavior, trends, and demand in certain part of the world, you can diversify your manufacturing or also supply chain operations to those areas to learn more about your target audience directly. Yeah, and in terms of the China and US trade decoupling graph, so using United States as a case study here, as an example, the trade interdependence between China and the US has shown the sign of decline in the recent year, as you can see from the slope of the graph at the left-hand side. So one of the significant factor contributing to this trend is due to the, of course, the ongoing trade tensions, as well as the tariff dispute between the two nations. So I've summarized 3 points that what caused this trend. So first of all is the supply chain diversification, as I briefly mentioned. So many US companies were actively looking for ways to diversify their supply chain portfolio away from China. So for instance, a study by US-China Business Council, they found out that roughly around 51% of the surveyed company were considering or had already moved some of their manufacturing as well as their sourcing operations out of China. And the second point is the increased imports from the other country. So the United States have been importing more goods from the alternate sourcing locations. For instance, the data from US Census Bureau, they indicated a notable increase in imports from countries such as Vietnam, Mexico, Taiwan, suggesting a shift in the sourcing patterns away from China, which again will highlight more detail in the coming slides. And last will be the reshoring initiatives. So the United States has witnessed basically a rise in the reshoring initiatives. So basically the companies in the United States would like to bring back their manufacturing operations to the domestic soil. So this trend reflects the desire to reduce reliance on the foreign supply chains. So for instance, examples such as Apple, which announces its plan to manufacture certain products within the United States. And in terms of the leading US apparel supplier graph, so let's zoom in more specifically in the US apparel vertical. If you take a look at the graph at the left-hand side, it highlights the market share changes over time, which primarily highlights US apparel sector is switched to China's alternative in terms of its supplier selection. So the trade statistics showed that Asian countries such as Vietnam, Bangladesh picked up most of the China lost market shares in the US apparel import market. So for instance, in 2022, between January and November, Asian countries excluding China accounts for 51.2% of US apparel import, which is a substantial increase from 41.2% in 2018 before the tariff war. So let's go back to what we covered previously. So the cotton industry in Xinjiang previously has been accused, as I previously mentioned, of using large-scale forced labor in production of cotton, which resulted exports of Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region to the US dropped by almost 90% in February this year on year, to around 497,000 US dollar. So apparel, which once again was the region's top export to US, disappeared in February because of the policy, several months after the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act came into effect. And the shifting dynamics in China top export partners were evident, and also with European Union and booming Southeast Asian market emerges as the current leaders. The China Plus One strategy has played a significant role in its transformation. So as a result, we can anticipate a decline in the EU export dependency on China as well, paving the way for the Asian market to surpass the EU and become China's primary export partner in the near future. But I wanted to raise this question: does it really eliminate your supply chain issue? As we will be talking about some of the supply chain vulnerabilities and resilience in the coming slides too. Yeah, so from the graph at the left-hand side, you can see that export and industrial activities in developing Asia were slowing down due to the decrease in global demand. So key technology exporters have experienced a sharp decline in export. So we're seeing a weaker demand that has been also affected other countries in the region. And economists from the World Trade Organization, WTO, they predicted that the trade volume will grow by 1.7% in 2023, up from the previous estimate of 1% in October of last year. So real GDP growth is expected to be 2.4% at the market exchange rate. However, these growth rates were below the average rates observed since the global financial crisis. So the trade slump in the fourth quarter of 2022 was also influenced by various factors. So with the most notable being the increase of global commodity prices as well. So although food and energy prices had decreased from their peak level, but they remain very high compared to historical standard, and also impacting the real income and also import demand. So the impact of high energy prices was particularly felt in the Europe region during the winter months, as gas supplies from Russia were disrupted. So additionally, countries in Middle East and Africa, heavily reliant on the imports from Ukraine and Russia, face challenges due to high prices of wheat and also other grains. And now I'll talk about the more specific on the global commodity. Yeah, so basically, global trade trends over the past 4 quarters were influenced by several factors, but mainly by the energy sector, where the rise in energy prices result in higher trade value. And the other sector also experiencing trade increases were agricultural food product, apparel, chemicals, as well as road vehicles. And conversely, trade decline in the office communication equipment and in the transport sector. So within the apparel sector, the global apparel market is set to reach the revenue of roughly around 1.74 trillion US dollar in 2023, growing annually by 2.82%. And the largest segment, what we found, is the women's apparel, generating 0.91 trillion US dollar. So the United States, they lead in revenue generation of around 351 billion USD, and the market volume estimate remained to be roughly around 196 billion pieces by 2028 as the goal that they set, with 1.4% growth in 2024. So as you can see, the apparel retail market, they're anticipating a slow recovery as well. Non-luxury goods will account for 95% of sales in the apparel market in 2023. Yeah, so now, as previously I asked about the whether the diversification really solved the supply chain issue and complexity. So here I wanted to bring out how diversifying supply chain could also possibly bring some disadvantages. So first of all, it could be the rising expenses. I know it also contradicts a bit to what I previously mentioned, but we always need to consider both sides of the stories. So first of all, retailers, they may face higher costs when establishing manufacturing facilities or sourcing from multiple countries. So for example, a retail company that decide to establish manufacturing facilities in a new country may face increase in costs due to factors such as higher labor wages, transportation expense, compliance and logo regulations, etc. So these additional expenses can also impact on the overall profitability of the company. And second of all is the complexity in supply chains. So retailers that operate in global market often rely on diversified supply chain now in the recent years to source their product from multiple countries. So this complexity can be seen in the case of, for instance, fashion retailers sourcing fabrics from different countries, manufactures garments in another country, and also distribute them to various retail stores worldwide. So managing such complex supply chain requires coordination, logistic expertise, as well as effective communication to ensure timely delivery and disruption to avoid disruptions. Third would be the scale reduction. So a retail company that previously relied heavily on manufacturing in China may decide to diversify its production to minimize risks and reduce dependence on a single country. However, by shifting production to multiple countries, a retailer may face challenge in maintaining the same economies of scales that China's large manufacturing capabilities can offer. This can result in higher production costs and also potentially lower profit margins as well. And on top of that, quality control challenges. When retailers shift production to new countries, they may see challenges in maintaining consistent quality control standards. For instance, for a clothing brand that decides to manufacture a garment in a new country may face difficulties in ensuring the adherence to its established quality standard. So this could could include issues such as variations in craftsmanship, material quality, or compliance with safety regulations, which can impact the brand's reputation and customer satisfaction. And lastly will be the risks and disruptions. So retailers expanding their operations to new countries can expose to various risks. For instance, a retailer that sources products from multiple countries may face political instability in one of their sourcing destinations, leading to, again, supply chain disruption. Additionally, trade barriers such as tariff, import, or export restrictions can also impact the cost and the availability of the product. So furthermore, the changes of the regulatory requirements specific to each of the countries, such as product safety standard or labeling regulation, may further require retailers to adjust their operation to incur additional compliance costs. And now I will pass it over to Henry To, who is our head of sourcing product, to briefly introduce himself and also share his perspective on dual sourcing.
Right, thank you, Nick. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Henry, head of sourcing products at EV Cargo, looking after the delivery of our upstream sourcing digital solutions, EV Source. So at EV Cargo, our vision is to transform logistics into a technology-driven industry. So we've taken an extended view of the supply chain, developing products across the spectrum to cater for our customers' digitization needs. I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about the exciting transformations happening in the world of supply chain, and specifically for the purpose of this webinar, the digitalization of global sourcing. Right. Okay, so first, let's take a moment to understand sort of the landscape. The industry has really recognized the importance of implementing dual sourcing and incorporating ESG factors as crucial steps in enhancing the resilience of the supply chain. Simultaneously, there exists a distinct prospect to digitize the procurement process. And of course, this is not just us saying this, it's echoed by what industry experts are also witnessing. So in this example, according to Accenture, innovation and future readiness are key. Shockingly, only 2% of sourcing directors consider their operations as future ready, with 90% feeling the pressure really to extend this innovation. Touching upon ESG, so PwC emphasizes the intersection of ESG, CSR, investments, and cost considerations. 60% of companies are interested in implementing ESG, CSR digital solutions, while 69% name cost reduction as a top strategic priority. Finally, McKinsey shed some light on this resilience imperative, really. So a whopping 93% of respondents plan to increase supply chain resilience, leveraging mechanisms such as dual sourcing. So in summary, the key themes include the need for organization to focus on future readiness through innovation, the growing importance of integrating ESG, CSR considerations with cost management, and the heightened emphasis on supply chain resilience, with a notable interest in mechanisms like dual sourcing. So delving into more specific trends shaping global digital sourcing, the growth in trade in Southeast Asia is a significant factor impacting strategies worldwide. We often discuss with our clients the concept of dual sourcing, China plus one, as Nick has touched upon, really the need for this and the critical importance of supply chain network planning. And in the realm of supply chain network planning, we are witnessing a shift from traditional models to more dynamic, responsive systems with the help of advanced analytics, artificial intelligence. Companies can optimize their supply chain networks in real time. This means better demand forecasting, reduced lead times, and overall improved efficiency. The ability really to adapt quickly to changes in demand and disruptions is becoming, as ever, a critical factor in staying competitive. Next up, the infusion of technologies like machine learning and AI. Of course, it's a big trend right now, is also revolutionize traditional sourcing as we know it. While AI's analytical power transform decision making, generative AI really stands out for its unique ability to learn from data sets and to generate insights and intelligence. So therefore, leveraging generative AI enhances demand forecasting, optimizes inventory dynamically, and proactively manages risk throughout scenario planning and what if scenarios. So ultimately, this isn't just an upgrade with the advancement in emerging technology. It's really a shift towards creating intelligent, adaptive, and forward-thinking supply chains. So this tech convergence really boosts visibility and reduce risk, and bolstering the supply chain's overall reliability. And next up, ethical considerations in sourcing continues to gain prominence. Consumers are becoming more conscious of the social environmental impact of product they purchase. Me, for example, when purchasing, clothing or general merchandise online, I'm always surprised at the amount of plastic packaging, for example, that comes along with it. Therefore, the companies are increasingly incorporating ethical trade practices into their sourcing strategies. So this includes, ensuring fair labor practices, responsible sourcing of raw materials, and transparent supply chain processes. So embracing ethical trade not only aligns with corporate social responsibility, but it also helps enhance and maintain really the brand reputation. And on a related note of ESG considerations, so as I mentioned, it's not integral to the supply chain decision-making process, and more than ever, digitization plays a key role in enabling these ESG goals, from reducing carbon footprints through to optimized transportation routes, ensuring the aforementioned, fair labor practices. Digital tools really provide the data needed to measure and improve ESG performance. And therefore, companies that embrace ESG principles through digitization not only contribute to sustainability, but also create positive impact in the long run towards their bottom line. And finally, the current economic landscape marked by inflationary pressures emphasize the importance of efficiency and cost control in sourcing. Not only are digital tools able to help track sustainability, but enable us to identify cost-saving opportunities through the optimization of inventory levels, streamlining processes. So twofold, leveraging these technologies to enhance efficiency, we can mitigate really the impact of inflation on our supply chain costs. What this ultimately means is that to really excel in global sourcing right now, businesses must harness key trends for value creation, from dynamic supply chain planning with AI to ethical trade practices and ESG considerations. These trends enhance efficiency and reduces risks. Utilizing digital sourcing tools, identifying cost-saving opportunities, and ensuring adaptability in the face of economic challenges. So, digital adoption isn't really just a fancy upgrade. It's really a path to create intelligent, adaptive, forward-thinking supply chains, positioning businesses for really enduring success in the dynamic global market. All right, so digitizing key sourcing processes. So we have alluded to the need for modernizing sourcing processes through digitization, but exactly what processes are we referring to, and how do we go about delivering this? Well, firstly, the digitization of ethical trade and supplier setup is evaluating our commitment to responsible sourcing. By leveraging ethical trade supplier setup, can seamlessly track and ensure adherence to ethical standards, promoting transparency and accountability in every step of the supply chain. So moving on to seasonal range planning. Digital tools provide us with really the agility to respond swiftly to market trends. Real-time data analytics facilitate informed decision-making, optimizing the plan for seasonal products, providing really maximum impact and customer satisfaction as well. So in the realm of tendering for new products, digital platforms streamline and enhance the efficiency for the procurement processes. This not only accelerates time to market, but also foster closer collaboration with suppliers, promoting a more agile and responsive sourcing ecosystem that seamlessly facilitates dual sourcing as well. The digitization of finalizing, maintaining product master data is really revolutionizing our approach to product lifecycle management. With centralized, accessible databases, we're able to ensure accuracy, reduce errors, and expediting product quality and product launches, fostering really a added competitive edge in this market. Turning our attention then to sampling and production. Digital tools really are instrumental in enhancing collaborations with manufacturers, ensuring precision in product development and reducing lead times as part of the various sampling processes. And finally, in the domain of order and beyond, digitalization provides this end-to-end visibility. We talked primarily focused talking about upstream sourcing, but from order placement to delivery to post-sale service, technology and the end-to-end integration of this really enables the seamless tracking and communication of this information, enhancing once again the value provided to customers. So I'm excited as well to share with you 3 principles, philosophies that are at the heart of driving efficiency and innovation through technology. So our motto is, we call them the 3 I's, information, insights, and intelligence. So I'll go into a bit more detail on this. So first up, information, once again, in the realm of efficient use of technology, information really is absolutely vital. We're talking about the nitty-gritty details, supplier data, factory information, cost structures, and also product master data. But here's really the crucial part. The quality of analysis before we plug in the AI, the intelligence component to it, really depends entirely on accuracy and completeness of this information, and it's almost like the foundation upon where innovation stands. And with this, we can move on to the second I, which is insights. This is where analytics come into play. We use the aforementioned data to determine how your network of suppliers, factories, product sales are performing, what's working well and what needs improvement. It's also about finding room for optimization in the supply chain, the packaging, lead times. We also delve into cost comparisons, seeking out opportunities for optimization that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. Insights really drive our understanding of where enhancements are possible. And finally, onto the third I, which is intelligence. This is where we move from insights, sort of understanding, seeing the picture, to really proactive action. Intelligence means really making these informed decisions on which, for example, products, partners, sourcing strategies to adopt and why. So it involves determining optimal order quantities, for example, deciding which suppliers to engage with, and crafting strategies that really drive overall improvement. In essence, intelligence is the bridge between what we know and how we use that technology to elevate our operations. So how does our product then, EV Source specifically, how does it help, and why does it play such a pivotal role in this digital revolution? We empower global retailers, vendors, and factories by reducing risk and bolstering the supply chain resilience through enhanced collaboration. Our brief and quote solution not only facilitates traceability and review of online quotes from suppliers across different countries with a convenient single-click view, but also emphasizes facilitation of informed buying decisions, particularly in the enablement of multi-sourcing. All of this is seamlessly achieved through a unified platform with configuration options to tailor the solution and complement specific business process needs. So effortless digitalization. By digitalizing data and workflows, we enhance global collaboration and improve the data visibility. Namely, our Product Master Hub solution revolutionizes a retail client's operation by transforming the product development process, offering a centralized platform for creating and maintaining standardized product records. Digitization eliminates the challenges associated with traditional, decentralized, outdated information, as well as manual data management and complexities. The hub, as we call it, is a unified platform, and once again enhances efficiency by ensuring consistency, facilitating collaboration among global teams, really reducing any geographical barriers for communication. And crucially, Product Master Hub as well provides a comprehensive supply chain visibility, offering a clear and configurable view of product-related information, from creation, conceptualization of product lines, placeholders, to packaging, to really manufacturing and fulfillment. We employ emerging technology. So the integration of AI and advanced analytics streamlines really the data-driven decision-making, giving you an edge really in the rapidly evolving landscape. Advanced analytics strategic forecasting, coupled with our EV Source range plan solution, utilizes AI effectively to evaluate hundreds upon thousands of data points to learn patterns and incorporate them with industry trends to really offer intelligent suggestions that help optimize our clients' businesses. EV Source as well integrates environmental impact assessments, carbon footprint, and resource consumption metrics into basically a product ecosystem. So our ethical trade solution allows retailers to assign, review, and report on factory classifications in order to determine, the audit requirements. Retailers can record, store, and manage these ethical audits alongside the resolution of corrective action plans. Configurable options for assigning, factory risk rating based on, the standards that they use really help adapt to the retailers we are working, and also the way they collaborate with suppliers once again. All right, so in conclusion, the digitization of global sourcing is not really just a trend, it's a necessity. And EVSource, as I've described it, is really here to be a partner in navigating this transformative journey. So this concludes my section of the webinar. Thank you all for your time. I'll hand it back over to Nick for a closing summary and the subsequent Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. So in summary, we have witnessed notable shifts in global sourcing trends. Countries such as Vietnam, Bangladesh have emerged as available alternatives to China, gaining the market share in the Europe apparel import market, for instance. However, it is also crucial to acknowledge that export and industry activity in developing Asia is also experiencing a slowdown due to weakened global demand. So the opinions of sourcing directors shed light on the challenge that they face. So basically, innovation is a pressing need, but yet it's only small percentage consider their operation as future ready. So that's why, as Henry mentioned, it's very important to touch base on the transformation and also digitalization. So cost reduction and supply chain resilience remain as the top priorities in this competitive environment. And furthermore, expanding production to multiple countries offer benefits by also introduce vulnerabilities, such as cost increase, supply chain become more complex, economy of scale diminish, and quality control becomes more challenging. And additionally, new risks emerge that must be managed effectively. And lastly, except all these challenges, digitalization plays a pivotal role. So as Henry mentioned, our EVSource modules provide a transparent platform for multi-sourcing, streamlined digitalization process, and these advancements enhance supply chain resilience as well as sustainability, aligning with the evolving need of the industry. So in conclusion, today's global sourcing landscape requires careful consideration and also strategic actions. While countries in Southeast Asia emerge as a stronger contenders, we must address the challenges of supply chain vulnerabilities through digitization and also the implementation of software modules such as EVSource to foster a more transparent and also streamlined process. And now we will move to the Q&A session. Please feel free to type your questions in the question box and we'll go through them accordingly. Yeah. Oh, thank you for the question. And we do receive various questions and we'll go through some of it as a priority. So first of all, one of the questions that's raised is how can company establish effective supplier relationship management strategies in global sourcing context to ensure long-term partnerships as well as collaboration. So here, I'll let Henry to address to this question.
All right, sure. Thanks, Nick. Establish effective supplier relationship in context of long-term partnerships and collaboration. All right, yep. So that's yeah, thanks for that, Nick. Yeah, that's a good question because like so far we've talked really about with suppliers, the need to build up ESG standards, dual sourcing, almost counterintuitive to the idea of building long-term partnership with suppliers, looking at dual sourcing opportunities. But it is still paramount that retail businesses and their suppliers have a good, transparent relationship in order to ensure the required ethical standards are well communicated, as well as being in a win-win situation where retailers get the products they expect with the correct amount of quality, and at the same time suppliers are able to remain in business to supply these retailers. I think three off the top of my head, three main points really when it comes to building these long-term partnerships and collaboration. It's the idea really of communication, so maintaining open and transparent communication channels with the suppliers, regularly share information, expectation, and also feedback to kind of address if there are any potential issues in a prompt manner. And an effective way to do this is really through a standardized platform that is used to align on questions, feedback, and also in the realm of sourcing, for example, and any product requirements, tracking of changes to ensure nothing gets lost in communication. I think it's also important to establish clear KPIs in terms of performance measurements. So yeah, it's establishing these clear performance metrics to evaluate a supplier's performance. I think objectively is very important because for the benefit of both sides of the business, it is a case of monitoring and assessing their adherence in an objective manner to quality, delivery, and service level agreements. So having very clear KPIs and providing transparent feedback is one important factor to building these long-term partnerships. And I think finally, the idea of supplier development as well. Retailers supporting suppliers to enhance their capability and processes. So, we touched upon, ESG sustainability practices that may actually not be standardized across the different manufacturing countries. So it's about, providing them with, guidelines, training resources to kind of meet what's expected to improve the operational efficiency and to address any shortcoming really to benefit suppliers, manufacturers involved, as well as us as consumers at the end of the day. Yeah, hope that answers the question. And
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Henry. And the next two questions are somehow related to risks. So the first question is, what are the key factors to consider when conducting a comprehensive risk assessment for global sourcing, and how can risks be effectively mitigated? And there's also another question about the emerging trends and technology in global sourcing, such as the use of blockchain, AI, data analytics. So let me address to the key factors first, and I will let Henry answer about the more technology related, such as blockchain and AI. So in terms of the key factors to consider, I would say first of all would be the geopolitical stability would need to be considered, because first of all, buyer or retailers, they need to assess the political climate, regulatory environment, and potential risks that are actually associated within each country, as I also mentioned in the webinar. So they need to be considered during the process of sourcing, and also stay informed about the trade policies, sanctions, as well as political unrest that could also impact the supply chain. And second of all is also to evaluate suppliers' capability and also financial stability. So this can be done through conducting thorough due diligence, or by also reviewing the financial statement, assessing production capacity, and also evaluating suppliers' track record. And also diversification of supplier base can also reduce dependence on a single source, and furthermore mitigate the risk, as what you always hear, don't put all eggs in one basket. And third of all, I would say maybe on ethical and also compliance risks, that may also need to be monitored as well, because suppliers' adherence to labor standard, social responsibility, as well as environmental practices plays a pivotal role. So to implement a comprehensive supplier audit, corrective action plan, and also verification processes to ensure compliance with relevant regulations and ethical sourcing criteria will be needed. And within EV Source, we do have ethical trade and also supplier setup that allows the retailers also capture the corrective action plan of the upstream vendor and also supplier status. And lastly, I would say also consider the potential impact of maybe the currency fluctuations, as well as the exchange rate risks, because monitor and also manage currency exposure could also through hedging strategies, or also by diversifying sourcing locations to mitigate financial risks. Yeah, and that's my my understanding of the key factors to mitigate risk. And now I'll pass it over to Henry to explain a bit more detail regarding the utilization, the use of blockchain and AI, as well as data analytics in a role of the current emerging trends and technology in global sourcing.
All right, thank you, Nick. So yeah, I guess it's sort of a three-part question. So I'll just reread the question. So what are emerging trends and technologies in global sourcing, such as blockchain, AI, data analytics? How can they be leveraged to drive efficiency and mitigate risks? So yeah, it seems like a three-part question. So I guess I'll start with AI, as is sort of the most captivating topic at the moment. So of course, when we think AI, the trend really has gone about with generative AI technologies. But I think AI sort of incorporates a wider spectrum. So not just generative AI technologies, as we've come to know, it include really what we have been as well working on in the past couple of years, the use of machine learning and, for example, natural language processing. So all this really can revolutionize, let's say, global sourcing, utilizing, for example, I touched upon earlier the idea of AI-powered demand forecasting engines to kind of improve accuracy in analyzing historic data, on one hand, historical data, and incorporating with big data machine learning to incorporate market trends into said historical data to provide a more accurate and effective forecasts to base your retailers' business strategies upon. We talked a bit about so supplier relationships. So I think AI can also optimize the supplier selection process, for example, assessing multiple various parameters such as cost, quality, performance, on-time delivery, and as well, taking into account their ESG and ethical trade practices. So taking almost quantitative and qualitative data together, making sort of intelligent, either automated decisions or semi-automated decisions to kind of streamline, sourcing sourcing strategies and really reducing any manual efforts and errors when it comes to these sort of analysis, I think is extremely beneficial. So that's AI. Blockchain, it's blockchain technology. And an example, there are multiple uses of blockchain within the realms of sourcing, but for example, it can enable sort of the secure, transparent transactions through, if they're a decentralized channel. It can also enhance supply chain visibility, for example, by, providing a shared real-time view of transactions and inventory movements. And the final part of that, data analytics. So it's sort of like goes hand in hand with AI. We have advanced analytics techniques that can process a vast amount of data from various sources as well. So once again, with a consistent message of analyzing supplier performance, market trends, feedback, customer insights, and really this enables us to provide on a system basis proactive decision making and any risk identification associated with that. Yeah, so apologies for the long-winded answer, but yeah, that's sort of in a nutshell.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Henry. Yeah, due to time constraint, I think first of all, thank you all for sharing so much questions, and indeed, we will review each of them one by one. We'll make sure none of these questions will get neglected from our end, but unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to touch base on the rest of the questions for today's session, given the time constraint. I understand it's also during working hour as well. So again, thank you all for the participation today. So we will definitely get back to you over by email regarding the rest of the unaddressed questions. And if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. So here I will share you our contact information. So I will leave this page for roughly around 30 seconds for you to take note and also to screenshot it if needed. And feel free to shoot us any further questions that you may have, and we will consolidate the rest of the questions that you all shared, and then get back to you through email. Yeah, I will stay on this page for a few more seconds. All right, that marks the end of the webinar. Once again, thank you for your participation, and we'll see you around.
Right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.